Hey, welcome everybody. This is Carmen DeGiovanni once again. I just wanted to give you an overview of the RESNA conference. We had the RESNA virtual conference last week. It was a great conference. It was definitely unique and a little bit different. There were parts that worked and honestly parts that didn't work, but the parts that worked really well. So I just wanted to give you an overview. I think belonging to a professional organization is really important for you professionally, especially as you start developing your networking skills. And I think that's been one of the key things for me in being a part of RESNA through the years is not only the educational content that I've received through the years, but the interaction with professionals who are interested in the same types of technologies that I'm interested in. And it's also connected me with consumers, which is so important as we develop technologies and as we look at better ways to utilize technologies in our everyday life. So I'll just starting here on the home screen of the RESNA website. And then, of course, we had the virtual conference. A couple things that I want to point out about the virtual conference is prior to the virtual conferences, we had special interest group meetings that everybody, whether or not you're a member or not to RESNA, were able to go to. So those were a couple weeks ago, but just want to make you aware that there's special interest groups out there. Those special interest groups range from communication, seating, mobility, teaching, the K through 12 practice, and then the newest one, which is the 24-hour care management special interest group. Personally, I belong to the emerging technologies special interest group, and I don't think anybody would find that to be very surprising. The other group I want to bring to your attention are the professional specialty groups. And so RESNA has always been a very multidisciplinary, interprofessional type of organization. So we have people who come to this organization from a number of different fields. And those fields are educators, engineers, PTs, OTs, orthotists, prosthetists, SLPs, wheelchair and technology suppliers and manufacturers, and then vocational rehab. Because they come from different ways, they all have different perspectives and they have all different interests around assistive technology and rehabilitative technology. So you may want to check out one of these groups. The cool thing is we have open meetings coming up week. So feel free to join one of those meetings and you can find more information about that on the annual conference page. So I'm going to flip over. For those of you that have never been to a virtual conference, and this was my first virtual conference, I think there's a couple things takeaway points that you'll want to see is, so the first thing is just entering the RESNA verse, and they have a nice opening scene, and I'll send you a link to that YouTube video. But the other thing is to pay attention to who are the sponsors, because those are the people who are vested in the field that you're interested in. So NMITA, so they're coming from the driver's rehab side of things, Sunrise Medical, Pitt, University of Pittsburgh, in their impact program, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that later on, and US Rehab were some of the sponsors that were involved in the conference. So moving right along to some of the exhibitors that were involved. Oftentimes these conferences have workshops which are very educational focused, and it's also an opportunity to meet the manufacturers and suppliers that work in the field of assistive technology, and that's true of any conference you go to. This was just a little bit different, and so we were able to dive in. I jumped into the Adaptive Switch Labs exhibit hall, and it was really cool because they were doing a hands-on explanation of how to use their technologies, their head arrays, for not only controlling power mobility, but also for controlling the environment around them, the Internet of Things and smart home technology. The other one that I found interesting was Accessidor, which is an app that allows you to open doors that use what the developer calls the big blue button. But everybody's familiar with the big blue button. As you enter a building, you can hit that button, that'll open the doors. Well, this allows you to use your smartphone to access and to essentially simulate that button push to get through those doors. It was a really cool app. So a number of other exhibitors at the conference, and so they're an important part of every conference, and when you go, you want to touch base with them. Just wanted to pull up quickly the video, the RESNA 40th anniversary video. I may have a cameo appearance in it, so check it out. That'll give you a little history of RESNA if you're interested in it. And then jumping back to the virtual conference, I went to a number of sessions throughout the conference. It had, this is just my agenda, so it was kind of nice. I could create my own agenda, but there was a full agenda if I wanted to go to. I went to the student design competition. That's always a good event to go to. Some other things that stood out to me was that impact group, the impact to technology group. Yep. Yeah, impact, and we'll talk a little bit more about that group, the impact group. They had a presentation early on, and I thought that was really good. Mary Goldberg and John Perlman did a great job with talking about the resources that they have that we have available to us to bring technology from concept into the actual fully developed product. The other one that I want to take a shout out to is Carl Kemmerer. Did a presentation on online education. So from my standpoint, that's a way that I get more information. I found it fascinating. And then Georgia Tech and University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign did a great presentation on technologies to support aging in place. And it was fascinating. It's a lot of the things that we talk about in these courses around how do we use everyday technologies to improve the quality of life of people who are with a disability, aging into a disability, or just their function is changing as they age. And so it was a really good presentation. On Thursday, a lot of international content, but the one I want to point out for that one is the general session that Anthony Dutine from the Pan American Health Organization, the World Health Organization, gave a great presentation. And then Bill Peterson gave a great presentation. He has a unique background because he's an engineer. He's an individual with a spinal cord injury. He worked previously for NIDER in the federal government, and then also worked for the Department of Homeland Security. So he has this unique background. So if you have a chance to watch any videos of him, I recommend checking it out. And then the last one is just, there was a nice presentation by Peter Axelson and Lee Page on assistive technology for air travel and the challenges around assistive technology, using assistive technology on a plane, or especially if you're using a power wheelchair, manual wheelchair, safely getting that power wheelchair, manual wheelchair to your final destination. And the last thing I just want to comment on was RESNA was a great place for students. I talked a little bit about the student design competition. There's also a student scientific paper competition. And then there were a number of poster presentations. We had a bunch of poster presentations from Ohio State University focusing on the Smart Columbus projects. So as many of you know that we've been involved with Smart Columbus and a Wayfinder project. And so we were able to present some of our work at RESNA. So those are the highlights of the conference overall. Now I want to just talk about some of the cool technology that I saw and some of the cool information that I saw. So I'm going to flip on over. This is the Accessidor. That was what I was talking about earlier. It makes the blue button, as the developer talks about it, accessible. And so she's in a pre-order phase right now. It's a cool company because it's an innovative idea, and it's also developed by an individual with a disability, an individual who uses a wheelchair. And so she's taking her own experiences and applying it to the creation of new technology. So if you have a chance, check out the Accessidor. The Impact Group, this is they have a great website that talks about how do you take technology, these ideas, and how do you translate them into the actual commercial products. And so there's some, their website has a lot of great information, a lot of resources. And the other nice part is that they have a lot of great partners. Some of their partners would be equivalent to, at Ohio State University, we have the corporate engagement office. They're partnering with their University of Pittsburgh's own corporate engagement office. So it's looking at it from a university standpoint, but then also from a business standpoint and from a national standpoint, because it's funded by the Administration for Community Living and NIDER, the National Institute on Disability and Independence Living and Rehabilitation Research. The one thing I want to talk about is from that group is Idea to Impact. They have a Coursera course, so it's a free course. It's part of what people oftentimes think of as MOOCs. Is it massive open online communities or online courses, I believe. And so if you want, you can go and you can take this course right now. Couple interesting technologies that aren't on the market quite yet is the strong arm dependent transfer. So this is you can go to YouTube and check out the strong arm dependent transfer device. And this was developed at the Human Engineering Research Lab at the University of Pittsburgh. I talked a little bit about the presentation on assistive technology for air travel. This is one of many standards that RESNA is involved with. So if you want to get involved on the technical side, we need consumers, we need clinicians, as well as manufacturers and researchers to be part of the standards development. So think about the standards that you use every day in your automobiles or that are used every day in the development of automobiles. There's standards for safety standards, standards on the seatbelts, on how cars interact with each other. The same thing exists for assistive technology. So if you want to get involved with that, check out the RESNA standards development website. And another cool thing that I learned about was Rich Simpson from Duquesne University talked about some of the tools that he uses in his class. The one that he talked about was the MIT App Inventor. Uses it in his assistive technology classes, says that the students really enjoy it. And so this is something that I just learned about that I'll be checking out and potentially incorporating into a future course. But if anybody has any feedback or has used the App Inventor in the past and would like to give me feedback, I'd appreciate it. Lastly, throughout the presentation or throughout the conference, I was tweeting about RESNA. So you can go back and search what I thought was important or what I thought was interesting. Not that it was important, just what was interesting on Twitter. My Twitter handle is CPD_rehab_ENG. And I tend to post things that just are new and emerging that I think are interesting in the field of assistive technology and rehab technology. The other way you can interact with me outside of the class is through LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not as active on LinkedIn, but I am on it and try to check out what is going on in the field of assistive technology. If you're on Twitter or LinkedIn, there's also some groups that you can be a part of on both of these platforms to get a better sense of what is the latest and greatest in assistive technology. So I hope you enjoyed that overview of RESNA and the RESNA conference. Of course, if you're interested, you can join RESNA, but if you want to learn more about it, feel free to reach out to me. As we move forward in the course, you're going to see a lot of technologies in this course that come under the auspices of RESNA. And so I think you'll find it very interesting to see how the two parallel each other. So hope you enjoyed the overview of the RESNA online conference. Note that we are planning for an in-person conference in 2021 in Arlington, Virginia. So that'll be in the summer, June of 2021. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to submit a paper or a workshop to the RESNA conference for 2021, those are going to start opening we start accepting them in October, and the deadlines will be coming out shortly. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, everybody, have a great week.